author and magician extraordinaire, teacher of the occult sciences. It's a pretty cool job, I have to admit. And today we're going to be talking about magic rituals that you can do in 2025 that are completely and perfectly adapted to modern life. No wands, no robes, no rigmarole, no weird language. What I want to show is that magic can just be part of normal life, and it doesn't need to be elaborate or arcane or even raise anybody's eyebrows. I want to continue to demonstrate that magic can absolutely be something for adults, something that's serious, professional, well-meaning, and well-balanced adult human beings can make a cornerstone of their life. In fact, I want to continue showing that magic is in many ways the appropriate spiritual path for the West. All right, but of course, you know what to do. Ask yourself, when would now be a good time to like and subscribe? Go ahead and smash that like button. And by the way, these streams are mostly for people who are already subscribed. YouTube tends to throw on the videos but not live streams into the algorithm, so please share these with people that you think would benefit from it. In fact, if you're into this topic and there are people in your life that maybe aren't quite so supportive of it, they think you're up to some weird devil thing or something like that, maybe send them this video to show them what magic actually is and put them at ease. Now I like to use the word magic because it sounds cool. And it actually is the official name of the path, of the spiritual path, that we're talking about. But if you're completely skeptical, if you're completely analytical, that's totally fine. You don't need to believe anything to do these practices, as you'll see in just a second. If you want to be analytical and skeptical, just think of it as mindset exercises or applied psychology. All right, now that you've liked and subscribed, and of course considered subscribing and supporting the channel, and considered super chatting today, I will do questions at the very end if we have time. Let's talk about magic minus the cosplay. All right, so the title card for this video is ritual over willpower. And that is completely true as a statement, not just in magic, but in life. What do I mean by ritual? A ritual is an actual action that you do. I mean, you do something outside of yourself. You speak out loud. You do some gestures which change your state of consciousness, as opposed to just making a mental note that you should do that, which is what most of us do, isn't it? Or trying to force oneself to change by thinking about it. Well, the way that the universe tends to work is it likes people to take a step in the right direction. And what magical ritual tends to do is, even if it's just play acting, it signals to the universe very powerfully and your unconscious, if you would like to be very analytical, it signals to your unconscious by play repetition that you want to embark on a new path in life, or that you want something to occur. Now, the effectiveness of ritual is very well studied, and as long as you don't put the word magic on it, like Uncle Jason, you can find all kinds of scientific studies about the power of ritual. In fact, there are even people employed as ritual consultants for corporations, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, to create powerful rituals that bring corporate teams together. I highly recommend watching yesterday's stream, Magic for Adults, in which I go through why adults in 2025, grown-ass adults who are rational, educated, professional, why they should investigate the occult, magic and the occult. There's a lot of good reasons, and none of it is spooky, so don't worry about that. All right, so today I'm going to give you 3 simple but very, very powerful rituals. And of course, I teach much more extensive ones at magick.me, magick.me, as you can see, my school for magic, meditation, and mysticism, where I as seen on all these incredible media outlets, Vice, Gaia, Days, Netflix, Tetragrammaton with Rick Rubin recently. I still need to get it on the site. And you can learn much, much more advanced techniques there. Okay, but onto today's topic. So let's give you some stuff right out the gate. So I'm going to give you 3 adult-friendly daily rituals. One that you can do in the morning, one that you can do in the afternoon, and one that you can do at night. And these are for, again, professional adults. Now, I have a challenge for you. Just try it. Try it for a day. Try it for, if you really want to test it out, try these out for a week and see how you feel. And if it doesn't make a difference at all, don't do it. I'm not attached to any of this. This isn't like my religion. I mean, Magick is a creative process. It's DIY spirituality that you can create on your own. And one of the things that I want to show here is how flexible Magick can be. Somebody in the chat is talking about the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram. Now, that's a great, great ritual from the 18th century, right? And magicians today do it all the time. But Magick can and must adapt to the times, right? And these days, most of us don't have like a Victorian or Edwardian drawing room to make elaborate temple setups in, like a scene from a Sherlock Holmes movie, and where we get all vibed up. No, most of us are stuck in commutes, grinds, ride sharing, driving Uber, that type of thing. So we need something that works for us. Or, stuck in corporate meetings all day long. Now, believe you me, listen to Uncle Jason. Corporate meetings are a great time to do Magick. Really good. Because usually nobody's paying attention to anybody except themselves. You have to do them mentally, of course, but I digress. All right, so I'm going to give you one ritual for focusing your mind in the morning. That's one of the most important things you can do to start your day. That's going to be a morning focus primer, so you can set clear priorities and make sure that you execute them calmly throughout the day. I'm going to give you a midday ritual, which I'm calling a boundary banish, to reset your energy. And you're going to love this. This is a ritual to banish doom scrolling. If you get if you get yourself caught up in a doom scrolling loop at any time during the day, you can banish the doom scrolling and the horrors that come through the cell phone with this ritual. But of course, it can be used for all kinds of boundaries. And of course, at the end, then there'll be a night ritual, a night compression or decompression ritual to dump your stress and help you sleep deeper. So these rituals together are going to help you set your day up right, make sure nothing derails your day, even if it's just the phone. I mean, isn't it true that while magicians of yore had dragons to slay and demons to conquer, well, we've got phones to deal with. I mean, but we've got technological demons to deal with, and or dragons rather, to conquer, to reclaim our attention and power from this digital world that we live in, which is increasingly run by digital intelligence. And I'm going to give you a 7-day measurement loop so that you can actually see, you can write, you can journal and see if you're actually making progress, because that's critical so you don't fool yourself. All right, so who's this for? It's for anyone, right? This is for anyone. If you're watching it, if you're watching this, it's for you. But I particularly want to talk to professionals, to creatives, to entrepreneurs, grown adults who want results, who demand results, because their time is limited. You've only got so much time in between your job, your kids, your social engagements, all of that. Putting passwords into half of my day, I feel, is putting passwords into phones and computers. You know what I'm talking about. So I want to aim this towards grown adults who want results, not just vibes. Okay, this isn't witch talk, right? Old Uncle Jason could be making a killing on witch talk, selling candles and all of that. But I want Magick to evolve. I want it to be something that actually makes sense and just isn't something you pick up at a New Age store, right? Okay. So let's talk about rituals. Why rituals? Practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect. It's that simple. If you drill on something every day, are you going to get good at it? Yes or no? If you do something every day, is it going to be become part of unconscious muscle memory? Yes or no? If you don't do something, at all, how are you going to be doing it if you're called upon to do it? This is why athletic training is important. This is why strength training is important. This is why practicing your profession is important. If you're a musician, you know all about muscle memory. And in fact, there have been studies done where it's been shown that people who even mentally practice their musical instrument, for instance, they deeply and clearly visualize themselves going through a violin practice session, actually make measured improvement in as much as actually doing it. Obviously, you don't want to do that for every time. But that's the answer to why ritual, because if you want to change your nervous system, you have to do it a lot. You have to reiterate your whole life. Your whole life has been one ritual. Your whole life has been a series of repeated actions that have, together made up your personality. That by the power of inertia create your character and thereby your destiny. So if you want to change the pattern of your life, as we all do, even if it's just to optimize it, right? You might be very successful, but deep down, there's something more. Your soul isn't being fed, right? Or maybe you feel lost. Maybe you feel that you need an actual step-by-step method to get your back in alignment with your true will. Ritual can help with that, but again, you have to install new behaviors, and there's no one and done, right? There's lots of techniques out there that will promise you that just do my technique, and one time and you're done. One weekend seminar and you're done. One weekend seminar and you're done. That's not what this is about. I'm not going to bullshit you. I'm not going to pull punches here. It takes work. And specifically what work means is it takes spaced repetition, just like getting good at anything in life, right? But over the course of a lifetime, what's 7 days of trying a few exercises? So let's get into it. So we're going to install 3 rituals. And you're going to do these if you choose to. I invite you to, if you choose to. If not, that's totally fine. But if you choose to give this a shot, we're going to give you 3 rituals that, repeated for a while, will begin to make behaviors and, more specifically, mind states, mental patterns, second nature. Because isn't it true that we all have mental loops that we, of course, all have destructive habits that might happen externally, but we also have mental loops inside that don't serve us, that aren't productive. Maybe self-deprecation, maybe getting stuck remembering that one ungodly, embarrassing moment, that one time. Yeah, those get me too. Maybe a pattern that's been destructive in your relation, a thinking pattern that when it comes out is destructive in your relationships and career. We've all got those, right? So how do we change them? Well, this is one very powerful tool. It's not the only tool in the world for doing it. There's tons, but this is a tool that's very powerful and that I'm very good at. So this is what I'm offering to you. All right. First of all, let's get an operating definition of magic. Now that we've talked about ritual, what is magic? Now, again, I urge you, go back, watch yesterday's video on why adults should do magic. Watch the videos across this channel. All of the secrets of the occult have been hidden, not only, all over the channel. And of course, if you want to learn much more, magic.me, where you can take structured courses on it and train in it. But there's so much information on this YouTube. Go check it out. But for now, for an operating definition, what is magic? Let's say that magic equals attention plus state. That means your internal state, your state of your consciousness, whether that's low, like depression, or elated, excitement, or maybe embarrassment, or maybe whatever it happens to be, your emotional state, right? And of course, it's not just emotional because that is deeply informed by your physical state, right? So magic equals attention plus state plus symbol. Magic equals attention plus state plus symbol, leading to, so it's an organization of those things, or an aligning of those things, aligning your attention with your state, with a symbol that focuses your will towards what you want to happen, that results in behavioral change you can measure. So magic, again, and one more time, magic is attention plus state plus symbol, which leads to behavioral change you can measure. All right. And real quick, in addition to that, let's talk about models of why magic works. Now, there's only one way to find out how magic works, and that's to do it and experience it and then see what explanation you come up with for yourself, right? Now, for the purposes of this video, we're taking a completely psychological model. We're looking at magic as a set of mindset exercises. We're looking at it as a type of deep intention setting, as a type of neural repatterning, if you will. And that's a very, very productive way to look at it, but it's not the only way to look at it. In fact, if you read about magic, if you watch people talk about it on YouTube, if you talk to people who do it, you'll notice that everyone kind of has a different operating definition of what it is. So some people talk about it as energy, right? Isn't that right? People talk about energy as if there's an energy in the universe, an energy in the self, planetary energies, things like this that can be worked with and shifted. And that's a perfectly legitimate model as well. What are examples? Tai Chi, Qigong, right? So Reiki, Reiki's great. Now, some people look at magic through the spirit model, meaning they think that magical effects are done by intelligences outside of the human. Now, these days, that's all of us because we all have to use ChatGPT to keep up, right? And large language models. But it more appropriately, it is the old animist way of seeing the world. And so you'll see a lot of magical systems, mostly the older ones, like Taoist magic or shamanism or things like this, that very much, they may touch on the energy model, but also very much work on the spirit model. So a chaos magician, as I am, our philosophy is we don't care why it works, right? And in fact, we can shift our definitions mentally of why it works or what we're doing at will, right? All that we care about is that we get results. And that's what you're going to be getting in this if you do these rituals. All right. So you're going to want something to write on. And of course, this video will be up so you can go back and clarify your notes later or take notes later. But you're going to want something to write on if you're following along now. Or a notes app on your phone or your computer, whatever. Let's get into our first ritual, our morning focus primer. All right. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you an outline of this, and then we're going to try it, okay? So the purpose of this ritual is to get yourself focused and get your gears in line for achieving what you want each day. And let me tell you, from personal experience, there's not much more powerful that you can do to take control of your neurology, right? When you make each day intentional, when you make each day a ritual, right? When you make each day about achieving let's say 1 to 3 things, now you're living with intention and purpose, right? Now, people talk about purpose and intention and meaning and the purpose-driven life as if it is some great, vast thing they need to go on a quest to find. They need to go eat, pray, love. They need to go to an ashram. They need to go to go on a motorcycle trip across Spain, whatever it happens to be. But living for purpose or intentionality, let's be practical, okay? That can simply be choosing your intention for the day, right? And instead of getting lost in the grand cosmic mystic, what is truth, all of this, you simply choose what your intention is for the day, right? You choose. You use your free will, right? It's important. Aleister Crowley defined magic as the science and art of causing change in conformity with will. And he talked about will as the core driver of magic. Now, I, as a more modern teacher, and much more balanced and healthy one, I tend to look at will as the power to make decisions, Will is to make a decision. And of course, when you will something, when you decide, when you really decide, not just, I wish I could do that, but you make a promise to yourself that you're going to do something, and you're serious about it, that engages everything. That you can engage your mind, you can engage your body, you can engage your skills, you can engage your contacts, whatever it is. Right? But of course, when we make a decision, what else happens? Right? We decide not to do something else, because every decision comes at the cost of other decisions you could have made. And so that decision-making capability, that power to make decisions quickly, that's a real skill, isn't it? That's a skill. That's a skill that is critical in family life. It's a skill that's critical in the workplace. It's a skill that's critical in emergency situations, right? I mean, how many? But most of all, it is often the ability to make clear decisions and stick to them is the dividing line between a life well spent and a life utterly wasted, right? Because how many people do we know who spend decades on end trying to figure out who they are or what they're doing in life or what they should do or what career they should pursue? Just make a decision. Just make a decision. That's a magical act, right? And don't worry about making the wrong decision. You'll figure out if it's the wrong decision by actually doing it or if it's the right decision. So when you decide what your day will be, you take control of not just each day, but your life, because your life is just a sequence of days, beads as if they were beads on a necklace, a necklace to do mantras with, or heads on the, or beads, shall we say beads, a necklace around the neck of the gods, like Kali. And of course, that necklace runs out one day, doesn't it? So better, if each bead you're counting as a day of your life, better make them count, right? Better pay attention. All right, so write this down. Here's how you're going to do this ritual. Number one, you're going to breathe deeply. It always comes back to that, right? You're going to take 30 slow breaths through your nose. You don't have to make it more complicated than that, right? But intentional. You have to do it with intention. And the intention should be getting into a new state, getting into a receptive mental state, getting into a focused mental state. So number one, 30 slow nasal breaths. Number two, you're going to state what your intention for the day is, right? And this is how you're going to do it. You're going to write down 3 priorities, 3 things you want to do that day. They could be big, they could be small. In fact, it's good to start with small things instead of, it is my will to become as rich as Elon Musk today. Choose things that you can accomplish, right? Reasonably so. And when you think about each day, how much of our day there's very little time in each day to actually do anything. How much of your day is taken up with sleep, with commuting, with brushing your teeth, with dealing with demands from outside, from other people? And then by the end of the day, you're tired, you just want to watch TV or play video games or whatever it is. So we don't have a whole lot of time. We have much less, we don't have 24 hours in a day, right? And we don't have 14 hours in a day of being awake. We might just have a few, maybe 2 hours total put together of productive time, depending on how disciplined you are and how your life is constructed. But here's what you're going to do. Number one, do your breathing. Number two, write down 3 priorities, 3 things that you want to accomplish for the day. And for now, if you're following along, if you're just doing this for the first week, just pick one. Star one that must happen today. Must. Right? Now, later on when you can do this, you can do all 3. Right? But when you're starting, just pick one out of the 3 that you must do. Now, don't worry, your unconscious mind will also pick up on the other 2 and will also work on those. Right? Just by choosing them, you've already put the magic into motion. But for the purposes of focusing and training, pick one. So third, you're going to write down your intention for that as if it has already happened. As if it has already happened. So let's say that your intention is to not get into a fight with your boss at work. I'm just pulling this off the top of my head. Okay, so So you would write this down as if it has already happened. So what would an example of that be? Instead of, I don't want to get into a fight with my boss today, that presumes a negative, and that already begins to program your mind for the negative. Instead of that is, I am calm at work today. State it in the positive. I am perfectly calm at work all day. I am perfectly calm at work. Make it simple. I am perfectly calm at work, right? So let's take that one. I'm perfectly calm at work. All right. So those are our first three. Now, it doesn't have to be a state that you're going for. It can be, I will complete, I will complete this task today, right? But let's just do, I will remain calm at work. I am calm at work, rather. So next, we're going to do a somatic seal. What does that mean? After you've come up with your intention, you're going to announce it to the universe out loud as if it has already happened. And then you're going to stand up and just take 10 seconds, stand tall, inhale, clench your fist a little bit. That's important because it anchors it. Slight fist clench, not as if you're going to punch somebody, but like a yes, right? Slight fist clench. Exhale and just say complete and released, complete and released. Or it is done, or it is accomplished, or so mote it be. But complete and released is nice and non-charged. Okay. And then you're immediately, over the next 60 seconds, going to take some action in the real world that moves you toward that. Right. So what could that be? I don't know. It could be, if you're staying at work, if you're staying calm at work today, bring some L-theanine or something. Bring something that will help keep you calm. Or write down something you can think of that keeps you calm. So to go through that, and that's it. So to recap, our morning focus primer, each morning, get up, take 3 slow breaths, choose 3 priorities, and then star the one that must happen. Write it and state it out loud to the universe. It's important to speak it by the same mouth, as it says in the book of the coming forth of whatever the holy book for the Aeon of Mott is. But spoken forth, right? You must speak it out loud. This is important. Why it is, I'm not sure, but it's very important. And you're going to speak it as if it has already happened. I am calm at work all day. I am perfectly calm at work. Then you're going to stand up, take an inhale, slight fist clench, exhale, and say complete and release. Complete and released. And then you're going to take some action. It could be making a call. It could be, let's say, turning off your notifications on your phone. That's a good one. Whatever it is that will help you get towards that goal. Now, it doesn't need to be a huge thing. It doesn't need to be perfectly accomplish that. It's just a signal it's a signal not just to the universe, but to your unconscious mind that you actually are taking action on it. And therefore, you're serious about it. Because if it's just a mental loop, like I'm going to do this, if it's just part of your mental to-do list, your mental checklist, which we all have, it's not going to happen. I hate to break it to you. Because you're not going to remember. And you're going to get slammed with a bunch of other things throughout the day that are going to seem more pressing and more important. Right? If you don't set your own time, other people will set it for you. All right. Okay, so that's the first one that you can try. I'm actually not going to do this on camera because me just sitting here breathing through my nose for 30 breaths is probably going to lose everyone off YouTube. So you can try this one on your own. All right. Number 2, boundary banishing. Now you can do this midday or you can do this as you need. So what is this? This is a way of, to put it very, very simply, a way of banishing bad vibes, man. A way of getting negative energy off you. And man, there's a whole lot of negative energy out there in 2025. I mean, it's tough in these streets. So, and man, I don't know about you, but I have worked in some toxic fucking workplaces. For sure. I have worked in some toxic corporate environments. And but you can have toxic interactions with family, with friends. You could just be stuck in traffic. You could be, see God knows what on your phone, on the news or anything like that. So here's a ritual you can do to reset your nervous system. It's a midday reset. And just like the first one, you don't need any props for this. So some good use cases is if you get caught in a doom scrolling loop, as we mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you get caught doom scrolling, if you pick up too much emotional bleed through from others, like basically in plain English, somebody else's negative mood affects yours, right? We would all love to think that we have incredibly thick skins and we don't have to pick up on anything we don't want, and none of that affects us because we're so strong-willed. But that doesn't really work like that, because humans have this thing called mirror neurons, where they are neurologically wired to essentially pick up and resonate with the people around them, right? So if you've got even one person who's very, very toxic around you, it can be a real drain. So how do you do this? Oh, and then of course another reason to do this is just if you get overwhelmed. Let's say you get like slammed with like 8 things you need to do all at once, and you're free. It's just like it's too much. This is also a great way to do that. Okay. So this is going to be another 5-step process, and this is 2 to 3 minute ritual. That first one probably 3 to 5 minutes. This one's even shorter, 2 to 3 minutes. Let's try a different breathing pattern for this one. Do some square breaths. Now that's 4 inhale, 4 hold, 4 exhale, and then 4 hold. And I am going to demonstrate that just so you understand what I'm talking about. You don't need to follow along. So it's in 4, hold 4, out 4, hold 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold. Excuse me, hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, hold. It's hard to talk and breathe, do nasal breathing at the same time, but I think you get the idea. So do some square breaths, or box breaths as they're called. It's a great way. It's like combat medicine, right? Field medicine. It's a great way to do a quick reset and at least get a little bit of control back, right? And get your nervous system to calm down. One of the most important things I teach at Magick.me is that that if you really boil a lot of these techniques down, whether it's yoga or, as we teach in a lot of classes, yoga, meditation, ritual, of course, even divination, doing things like tarot and I Ching, which put you in a very reflective state of mind. These, in many ways, are technologies for switching you from sympathetic to parasympathetic nervous system. Meaning they're technologies that get you out of fight or flight and into deep flow states. I think that's the best way I can put it, right, for modern audiences. These are technologies that get you out of fight or flight and get you into flow states. Now, flow states are a big deal. There's corporate consultants who are, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, who are paid millions and millions of dollars to tell people how to get into flow states. Well, I'm giving it to you for free. So 1, you do your box breath. 2, you're going to do a turn to the 4 directions. Now, I recommend downloading a compass app on your phone. That's, these days, the best way to get a compass. You don't have to go buy one. Just download a compass app so you know where east is, right? That's always important to know. Or you can look at the sun, or maybe you already know. But you're going to turn to each of the 4 quarters, the 4 directions. And you're going to start east and go clockwise. So east, south, west, north. And at each quarter, you're not going to do any big Hebrew or anything, Enochian, anything like this, any of the old school, the Museum of Magic, right? You're going to say something that's actually meaningful to you, which I recommend the following statement, or you can customize this to make it your own. At each corner, in a soft voice, you can say, return to sender. without harm. I reclaim my field. Return to sender without harm. I reclaim my field. And you simply say that at each of the four corners. Pretty clear. And you'll notice that I said without harm. Largely the reason for that is so you don't end up in a conflict loop in your mind, or you don't feel like you're pushing against somebody else's energy. You just get rid of it and move on with your day, right? Instead of dwelling on it. So return to sender without harm. I reclaim my field. That's something you can stand up and try right now. See how it feels. Then just do a posture reset. Step 3. Just stand up, shake your limbs, roll your shoulders, plant your feet hip width, Just shake out your body, wake yourself up, and make sure you're standing up straight. You can always focus here. Act as if a fishing line is pulling you up here. Whatever you got to do to just reset your posture, because working with your physiology is really important. It's one of the reasons why rituals are done outside. They're not just something you think through. There are astral rituals that's at a higher level, but for the most part, it involves your body, because your body is the key to your mind. Your body and your mind are not separate. And the more that you do magic and meditation, the more that you learn about them, the more that you get experience of working with your nervous systems, the more you find out that's really true. The body and mind are the same, right? Even the Buddha knew that. So, but it's amazing how we lose sight of that, particularly in post-Descartesian Western culture, which tries very, very hard to separate the body and the mind, all the way up to today's transhumanism and brain freezing and all of that crazy stuff, mind uploading. God knows what we're going to get. So use your body. Changing your body. I know this sounds simple. This is on the same level as yoga teachers telling you to drink water, which, by the way, drink water. It's really important. I know this sounds simple, right? But the key to changing your mind, your energy, is to change your body. Because changing your body, your posture, opening up, breathing more, standing up straight, you can do that in a second. Where if you're slumped down here, like, man, why am I so depressed? Like, why? What if I do this? It's never going to happen, right? But you can do it instantly with your body. Okay, that's the most powerful way to guide your state of mind. So that's the third step, posture reset. 4, you state a boundary line. Now, in many ways, any therapist will tell you this, any good therapist, establishing and maintaining healthy boundaries is the key to functional, happy, healthy adult life. Right, in relationships. Now, that's easier said than done, because usually when you have to establish boundaries with people and you tell them I need to establish a boundary with you, they tend to flip out because they don't like that. That's a topic for therapists. That's a topic for a whole other video. But suffice to say, learning how to maintain boundaries is a huge part of adult life if you're going to be happy, healthy, and successful. Right? How to manage them. That doesn't mean having a boundary with everyone. That means having a functional boundaries that you have control of, that you can take down if you want. For instance, if you're with your loved one, your spouse, your kids, you don't want to have your boundary up with them. That's not going to go very well. But you can put up when you're dealing with somebody who's yelling at you on the phone, or maybe you work in customer service, in which case I bow to your, or at a supermarket checkout, or in the police, or you're a first responder, EMT at some point, in which case I bow deeply to your, I'm sure, vastly phenomenal boundary skills. All right. So this is all you do. You stand up and you state your boundary. Now that you've banished these things, you simply stand up and you say, my attention serves today's one priority. My attention serves today's one priority. And this is a good time to restate, by the way, what your priority you chose in the morning was. Now notice what you're doing here. Not only are you calling back to the ritual, the anchor. Now remember, you did this as well, so you can also try some of this. Squeeze your fist, and it will bring you back to the ritual you did in the morning. It will recall that state. Not only does it recall that state, but it gets rid of the things that would have knocked you off your track. and realigns you to achieving that goal. That's just as important, if not more important sometimes, as setting the goal in the first place. Because doesn't life somehow seem to conspire to take us away from what we want for ourselves? Once you leave your front door, and often within your front door, your life is going to be about demands that other people are making to you on their behalf, things they need from you. Now that's important. That's critical. That's part of being, in a social relationship with other beings. That's just life, right? That's part of work. That's part of play. It's part of home life. But you also have to honor your own intentions, or your life will be, you don't know where you're going to end up, right? So lost in the wilderness. Why? Because you prioritized other people 100% over your own needs. Right? And that's not a zero-sum game. Those are percentages you can shift. But as far as this experiment goes, we're focusing on getting those things achieved each day. So this is critical for that. So you state your boundary line. My attention serves today's one priority. And then lastly, fifth, just like the first thing, you immediately go back to task and you do the next micro step in 60 seconds that you can do to get back on track of the intention you set in the morning, right? So here's an example. Let's say your intention is, I want to write 3 pages of a novel I'm working on. Okay, that's a good one. Simple. But man, is that hard to do these days, right? So it is my will to write 3 pages of my novel. Now, let's say you've just been pulled off that by there's bombing somewhere on the phone, there's doom scrolling, people are yelling at you, whatever, demands are being, you got to go pick up your kid from school because they are in trouble, whatever it is. So all that you do is you state, you restate your intention from the morning, and then you just do a quick action. Now let's say, so again, using the example of I'm writing 3 pages of a novel, open your word processor. Open up the document in what Google Drive or Microsoft, whatever it happens to be, Notepad, and just open it up and write a sentence. Okay, like that's good. It's like that's actually, the first step, as we say, is the hardest. So that engages you, and then once you do one, do another, and then you'll keep going for however long you can, right? So that's our second ritual. So to recap for our boundary banish, number 1, you're going to do your square breath 4, 4, 4, 4. 2, you're going to turn to each of the quarters and say to each one, return to sender without harm. I reclaim my field. 3, you're going to shake off and reset your posture. 4, you're going to state again out loud to the universe, even if it's quiet, even if you whisper it, that's fine. My attention serves today's one priority. And then finally, you're going to take a micro action in the direction of achieving that. And you will find that your day is back on track. All right. Now, are you noticing that there is nothing spooky in these, right? Are you noticing that these aren't that complicated? You don't need anything to do these by. You don't need tools. You don't need New Age tchotchkes. New Age tchotchkes are just, they're garbage. They're, there's no magic and crystals and tarot cards and astrological charts and all that. You know what those things are at New Age stores? They're things just like this. That anchor that gets you back into state, just squeezing your hand. For some people, having a physical item like a crystal, that they have special meaning for, or a necklace, or a certain tapestry or tarot card or statue of a god, that is a psychological anchor to them for something they're trying to achieve or something they're trying to embody, right? But there's no inherent magic in any of that shit. Pardon my French. It's just stuff that's cheaply made in a factory in China and mass-produced that you could probably get cheaper on Temu. Sorry. But the magic in those things, comes from the magic you put into it, the meaning that you attach to it. That's the magic. And once you understand that, you don't need any of that. To powerfully anchor a state and come back to it might just be squeezing a fist, right? So once you understand that principle, magic gets a lot more clear. So you notice as we're talking about this, there's nothing here that's violating the laws of causality or there's nothing spooky. There's nothing that's going to get you socially ostracized, right? You're not going to start walking around with a bow staff, and things like that, and robes. That's all silly. And most of that is for people who are trying too hard, quite frankly. You don't need any of that. All right. Number 3. The night ritual, night compression ritual. All right. So this is a ritual for getting better sleep and dumping your stress at the end of the day. So actually you do need a few tools for this one, but they're real simple. Something to write on and a glass of water. These are the great high magical items. And this is going to be the longest one, and by longest ritual, I mean 5 to 7 minutes, so don't worry. And here's how you're going to do it. It's another 5-step process. These are 3 5-step processes. And if you add them all up, all together, they're going to take less than 20 minutes out of your entire day. In fact, when you get good at them, it could be, let's say, 10 minutes, right? You could do all these in 10 minutes if you do them or take your time, right? And that's not all at once. It's not 10 minutes all at once. It's spaced throughout the day for a few minutes at a time. So if you're going to tell me you don't have time to do that, you do. So, all right. So here's your first step for the night compression ritual. Number 1, let's call it a gravel dump. That's a good way to think about it. What is this? Real simple. You're going to take 2 minutes and you're going to free write out everything that's bothering you. Right? And by the way, don't gaslight yourself. This is where you don't gaslight or second guess yourself. You're getting all this out of your head. If something's bothering you, write it down. Don't second guess yourself and say, that really shouldn't be bothering me. I'm too sensitive, blah, 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 blah. Whatever it happens to be. No, get it, write it down, right? Get it out of your head onto paper. All right, next, you're going to keep writing. And you're just going to take 1 minute and write down 3 wins you had that day. Now, maybe these are connected with your goal. Hopefully they are. Or maybe they were incidental things that just happened. It could be something small. Like, when my kid came up and needed my attention, I was present and available for them. Okay, that's a huge win, right? It seems like a small thing, but do you think that's a small thing to the child? No, not at all. That's a huge thing to them. So that's, something like that. That's a win, right? You don't need to cure cancer or paint the Sistine Chapel or, cause peace in the Middle East. It could be something like that. But the important thing is that you write down a win and you start stacking these up and you're reinforcing to yourself, like, actually, yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. And then starts a reinforcement loop with yourself to tell your unconscious, let's do more of that. Let's do more of that. Number 3, you're going to take 1 minute and you're going to write down tomorrow's seed. Or rather, what that means is just write 1 sentence for future you, for future Homer. Write 1 sentence for you tomorrow morning. That's it. And that doesn't have to be a goal. It can be just something you want to pass on from the day. So for instance, like to go back to a previous example, hey, I stayed present with my kid today. I'm going to stay present with my kid, or excuse me, yesterday. Stay present with your kid today, right? I can do that again today. Or just, maybe there was something throughout the day that was really powerful for you that helped keep you in state. So for instance, let's just say like not drinking 5 cups of office coffee. Because I didn't drink 5 cups of office coffee, I was in a much calmer state because I had set the intention to remain calm all day. So just write, hey, maybe keep coffee to 1 cup. It could be that too. It could be a warning. Number 4, this is the least elaborate magical gesture you will ever hear anybody recommend. You go to these magic channels and or you go to these magic books and it's like, you have to do magic by raiding Tibetan thigh bone amulets from the Himalayas and all of this. So, no. So, or you have to have complex formulas and learn Kabbalah and Enochian and tarot and all of this stuff, and you need to study and all that. And yeah, like if you want to do that magic, now of course you can learn that stuff a lot faster at magic.me, my school for magic, meditation, and mysticism, where you can learn everything, and I do mean everything, of the best of Western and Eastern magic. And there's lots more to come. By the way, we're doing a live equinox ritual on September 20th. I don't have the page up for it yet, but hang out and I'll tell you more about that at the end. All right. So all you're going to do, step 4, just take a sip of water and say the day is closed. One sip of water, the day is closed. That's it. Banishing with water. That's all it takes. And then 5, and finally for the day, do your box breathing, 4 by 4 by 4. Turn the lights down and get your damn phone out of the room. Once you do this ritual, I don't want you picking up your phone. That might be the most important thing I say in this entire stream. Yeah. Get that phone away from you. Go. All right. So those are our 3 rituals, right? I mean, not complicated, right? Nothing spooky. But if you really think about that, like, just those simple things, think about how much of a difference that could actually make. That's like a win-win, right? It's like there are very few things in life where you get more out than you put in. There's very few things. In fact, I can only think of 2 where you put in a small amount of input but then get something way better back. I can only think of 2. One is Magick and the other is the Instant Pot, which I highly recommend. It's great. Pressure cooker. You just put stuff in. And by the way, and it's easy. You put stuff in, it's easy. You turn it on and it comes out like a chef cooked it. No joke. Highly recommend Instant Pots. Love them. So outside of the Instant Pot, Magick is a really good way to get more out than you put in. Truly. All right. So how do we measure? If this sounds good, how do we make sure that we're actually making progress? So this is where you journal. Now, you can have a big, elaborate, magical journal, but it could also just be notes on your phone, right? Like a notepad, like note app file in your notes or Google Drive, whatever it is. And each day, and you can actually like set up a template for this. Each day, you're going to do the following things. You're just going to write down the date. You're going to write down what rituals you did. You are going to write down one concrete action that you took. And then you're going to write down what results were you're going to write down generally what your emotional and physical state was throughout the day, and then what let me make this simpler, actually. I don't want to overload you. Forget all of that. You're going to write down the date. You're going to write down the concrete action you chose. You're going to check off if you did all 3 rituals. You're going to write down the ones you did, just so you know you're keeping accountable, making sure that you're doing them. And then you're going to write down whether you succeeded or not in achieving your goal. And did you succeed? Did you get a hit? Did you get a miss? Or did you just get a partial win? Did you move ahead? That's progress. That's important. And then you can write down any other notes you want about the day. That's it. So again, date, the concrete action you chose, the rituals you did that day, and what the results were. Hit, miss, or partial success. And then any notes you want to take. That's it. But keep it consistent and make sure you have it for every day. And then when you look at it at the end of the week, make sure that you actually were consistent and you're not lying to yourself, because it's really easy. Anyone who's ever tried to build a functional gym routine knows how easy it is to trick yourself into not doing it. Oh, not today. Oh, I'm too tired. That type of thing. I got to do this. I got to do that. Right. And isn't it funny how then you look back and you think you've been working out all week, but you haven't. Funny how that works. All right. Then after tech people will love this. You can A/B test it a little bit, right? So after 7 days, see if you can just tweak one variable and see if it makes a difference. And that could be the wording. So it could be one of the following things. It could be the wording of how you're wording intentions or some part of these rituals. It could be the breath count you're doing, how many breaths you're doing, right? Maybe try 50 breaths in the morning instead of 30. Maybe try extending box breath to 6 by 6 by 6 by 6 or 8. Or the time of day that you do your rituals. Just something simple. And A/B test it and see if you get better results just by tweaking little things. Now, these are small, these are simple, but small things add up to tremendous habits. And your habits form your character, and your character forms your life. And we're just starting. Again, the important part here is the consistency and getting into the inertia of continued practice. So here's my challenge for you. Do it 7 days. We'll call it the 7-day ritual stack challenge. And see how it goes. Run all 3 rituals each day, morning, day, and night. So your morning intention setting, you're banishing at some point during the day. You can use it, you can just do it routinely, let's say around noon or the middle of the day, or you can do it as needed if you need it, if you get knocked off course. And then the night compression ritual. So do all 3 each day, log it for 7 days. And next week, so next Tuesday, I'm going to, at least for part of the stream, ask for feedback from people for how this went, right? So, you know, let's say next Tuesday or Wednesday, right? Let's give you the 7 days. So let's say next Wednesday. P.S. People who are on the Discord, which is free and has 1,000 people on it and is awesome, incredible source of community. People who are on the Discord, feel free to talk about this experiment and share results. But we'll say next Wednesday we'll have Q&A on the stream, and we'll have people relate their results, so you can see how it went for everyone else and compare notes and see that maybe you have a lot of overlap with some of the other ones. Maybe these things are it's not just in your head. So, all right. There you have it. Magic for adults in 2025, right? Now, upon that routine, once you get that functional routine down, you can build anything you want on it. But notice that takes care of a lot of core functions of magic. It focuses your will, it banishes things that are not your will, and it lets you it lets you self-reflect, let go of garbage from the day, and prepare your will for the next day. Pretty good. All right. So that'll be it for me. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to join our Discord. We'll put the link in the description. And keep an eye out for our equinox ritual. So while you're here, I'm just going to let you know real quick what's happening. And don't worry, it's not going to be a sales pitch at all. I'm just going to tell you what it is for a few minutes, and then I'm going to get off. So what we're doing is called the Equinox Working. And it's going to be from September 20th to 22nd, live online. And I am going to be guiding it. And essentially what it is equinox rituals throughout the world, throughout world history, throughout all human history, throughout all times and places, all cultures have seen the equinox as a time of death and rebirth, or of letting go and of the past and embracing what is to come. It's the time, astronomically, it's the time when light and dark are perfectly balanced. And that is the perfect time for us to realign with our inner balance, let go of what we don't need, and call forth the future. Now, practically speaking, what that means is we're going to be doing 3 days of really safe, but really, really profound, transformative, and deep techniques where we're going to be doing magic. You're going to be going through processes Yes, guided meditations and rituals, but also, NLP and things like this that are going to realign you with who you truly are, right? It is like a very expanded, very, nuclear powered version of kind of what we're doing here, right? I will be guiding you every step of the way during that. And to give you a broad outline of it, you're going to be identifying and banishing the things from your life you don't need, or that don't serve you anymore, or that maybe are hurting you, and that we all have to take out the garbage. And then we're going to spend a lot of time really digging down and identifying what you truly need to do next, what the actions you need to take to align with your true self, your true will, as magicians call it. And then we're going to lock that. It's not just this. We're going to lock that intention in place with a ritual of sealing, where we're going to seal that intention and send it to the universe at the exact minute of the equinox on the 22nd. So it will be a ritual, not just. So again, we're going to combine the best of ancient and modern techniques, where yes, we'll be doing NLP and things like that, but we are also doing it within the structure of a magical ritual. We're timing it to actual real-time events in the sky. But don't worry, we're going to be approaching that from both the magical, the mystical, and the rational approach, just like I've done here, right? So if esoterics and magical symbolism and the arcane, if that's what you like, you're going to get it. There's going to be a lot of that. But if you are a more analytical, skeptical person, you don't believe in any of this stuff, it's going to work for you just as well, and you're going to get results, because we're going to explain everything from kind of the classic magical standpoint. We're also going to explain everything in modern psychological terms. And if you dug what I did here today, you kind of get a sense of my approach and teaching style. So unfortunately, I don't have the sales page up for that yet. I'm still working on the video for it, but you will be the first to hear about it when it's up. And if you really want to make sure, P.S. also, it's going to be limited to 100 seats, and there will be an early bird pricing for the first 20 people, right? But it's first come, first serve. It's first come, first serve. It'd be $100 off, right? And there will be multiple pricing tiers, so it can be fit at any price point. But you get a really good deal if you're one of the first 20 people. So if you want to make sure that you find out about it as soon as it's released, join my mailing list. And you can do that here at start.magick.me. In addition to that, you get a free meditation that is actually a very potent guided meditation that I guide with music and all of that for setting your intentions in the morning, that you can do in addition to, or you can try back to back with this simple one. It's a very supercharged one. I mean, we have all these great quotes these are real quotes from people. This literally made me cry. It's so positive, heartfelt, and I feel like I have more energy than I ever remember having. This meditation is amazing. Thank you. Deeply relaxing, raises up a lot of energy and spirit. These are all real. This is all real feedback. Help me visualize important goals. Help my friends find a foothold in life. Works every time I listen to this. Anyways, you get the idea. So it's start.magick.me, and then you'll be on the mailing list, and you'll find out immediately as soon as I send the email out. And then you can grab that discount before everyone else snaps it up. All right, that's it. You'll be hearing. I will tell you more about that as we have it, and that's going to be it for me. All right. Hang in there. Have a great rest of your week, everyone, and good luck and great